We're going to skip this network break. I'm not doing this anymore, obviously, this week, and I'm cutting back on it, but I want to have more time with John Rappaport. I appreciate him holding investigative journalist, nomorefaknews.com while I go through all that. But I realize now, psychoanalyzing him, he's a smarter psychology guy than even I am. He just cuts right to it. I'm not being dramatic. I felt great. I was having a good show. I was covering a lot of important news. I felt like I was doing good. I started listening to the Clintons and remembering all the other women and the stories, because I probably interviewed 20 of them back in the 90s. And I got beyond nauseous. It's like a sickness in the soul where it's evil that I have to focus on the Clintons. But so many people say, good, just give into it, ignore it, go enjoy your own life. No, they're going to run over us if we do that. But I don't know what it is about Hillary. But it's just focusing on her. Soros, too. I don't even want to look at him. And there's only a few other people like this. But I can't look at them anymore. And sometimes I just catch, them on the cover of a newspaper or on TV, and I actually turn away like it's Medusa. And I'm not being dramatic. You're a really smart guy when it comes to being an investigative journalist, but psychology and a lot more. And I want to get into Zika and the world economy and everything with you, but covering the waterfront for the next 10 minutes with you, sir. Mr. Rappaport, you just heard me for the last 10 minutes talking about that. I almost had to stop talking in a minute. I mean, I couldn't even figure out what I was going to say, trying to analyze some key, some answer to all of this is, why is Hillary so evil? Or so many of the people I know say they can't look at her. Even people that are Democrats now are turning against her. What is it about Hillary? I mean, is she now the archetype of an arrogant, above-the-law witch, or what is it?
Well, I can only give you my reaction, Alex, and that is she could be the next president.
That's it. I realize the great evil, another wave of evil's coming, and I just think of her ruling me. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, if she were just, running a candy store downtown, and you could see right away when you look at her, hey, there's something really wrong here. Okay, you buy, whatever it is, a couple of bottles of water, and you walk out. But she could be the next president. And then consider what's going to happen. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And the power keeps increasing. She gets closer to the top, closer to her ultimate goal. It's one lie after another, and you can see what's behind it. I mean, this is not going to be an easy presidency, believe me, if she wins. I mean, this is a titanic catastrophe because she is counting on getting revenge on everybody, because she is the type of person who believes that everybody has to pay, because nobody has been completely loyal to her all the way through, and she deserves, unquestioning obedience.
Oh, there's going to be a persecution. Can you imagine her, the getting even that's going to happen when she gets in? That's it. I physically realize I'm in danger. I've already been jacked with by the Clintons when I had 1/100th the power I have now. And I'm on their enemies list. And when they brought up InfoWars, Richard Reeves talked to her, and they heard InfoWars, they all turned like vampires at high noon. I guess I just realized that I'm in danger. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I think so. That's, you see somebody at the top, and you like, take Merkel, for example, even. I mean, there she is. And what is she saying out front? She's saying, as if she's kind of mystified by this whole, migrant wave of invasion into Europe. It's almost as if, that's the front that she's presenting. Why would anyone, we need people, population is dropping and so forth. And you hear one lie after another thudding down onto the carpet,
It's like she doesn't know Peter Sutherland, the head of the UN migrant program, signed a deal with her 5 years ago to bring them all in, that they advertised, come here, everything's free, that they made a deal with Turkey as a conduit to bring them in. They know they're invaders into Syria, not even Syria. She doesn't know there's hundreds of rapes a day. She doesn't know they ordered the police to cover it up. She doesn't know they're using it to bring in a civil emergency, just like France. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. She doesn't know her parents were Stasi, communist dirtbags. These people are filth. They don't want prosperity, John. They want to mount our heads. They want to break us. They want to dominate the Renaissance. They want to kill the Enlightenment. These people are the opposite of the real Illuminati. They're the counterfeit Illuminati of Adam Weishaupt, come to bring darkness.
Yep. And so you see that every time you look at her. you can see behind that front. You know, she's just a little old lady down at the corner who's, you know, sitting there selling newspapers, only she's the head of Germany. And so you know that behind this little front is tremendous. You know, everything is a lie. Every single thing is a
It's a
lie
plan.
that comes up. Yeah, exactly. And it's the same with Hillary. It's the same with Bill. It's the same with all of them, you know? And then you think, well, how could this be? How could a human being exist in that atmosphere of doing nothing but lying all the time?
If I do anything wrong, I'm racked with guilt, even if I do it by accident. How do these people operate?
So they get into that, you know, underwater universe where everything is corrupt and everything is evil. They want to be there. That's the thing that people don't or aren't willing to accept. They want to be there. That's where, you know, they thrive. It's like a certain kind of an insect. You know, you've got to put that insect in a swamp, and it's got to be warm, and so on and so forth. And it's got to have a lot of, you know, junk there and so
It's their
forth.
environment, and they want to turn the world into their hell that they're comfortable in.
Exactly. Exactly. Because when they look outside the swamp and they see there are people moving around, living their lives, you know, or reasonably satisfied or even very happy or whatever, they can't stand that because that's the reflection.
Because our
of what
souls are
they,
bigger and stronger than theirs, but we don't seek the power, so they see us as a rival and a threat. That's why they want to dominate us. That is the key to their entire system. And when I say the good Illuminati versus the bad Illuminati, Illuminati just means enlightened, light, freedom. God's the light, folks. They're the false light, so they call it the Illuminati, but they're not bringing light. They're not bringing enlightenment. They created the Illuminati to take over the Renaissance that was the true enlightenment, that was the true power, that was the real original Christians before the establishment church. And that's what 1776 and all of it was, folks. And there's a battle between those two forces. The problem is, since they took it over after Washington's death, they've exterminated the original Enlightenment leadership, folks. They're gone. But we have to take it back up against them. Rappaport, I'm sorry I'm ranting. This is just getting too heavy for me.
Okay. You know, when I was, I guess it was 19, I read Dostoevsky's novel, The Idiot. That's a perfect image of what I'm talking about here. Because here was just an innocent guy, and he fell into the complete corruption of the Russian aristocracy at the time. And when those corrupt, terminally corrupt people looked at him, they saw a reflection of what they could never be, what they could never be, you know, because they were ensconced in evil and manipulation and so forth. And there was some little tiny piece of their soul that was still aware and awake that this character was, you know, a kind of a shining light that they could never have, they would never have. And so their only motivation after a certain point became destroy him. Destroy him. So it's the same thing with these people. They look out at the world and they see something they can never have because they have entered into the swamp. That's where they live, underwater. That's where they want to live. That's where they're comfortable. But they can still see out enough to know that they can never have the one thing that they really would desire. So they have to kill it.
It's the same allegory of Sleeping Beauty. You know, these archetypes tell us the truth, where the witch demands the kids. They won't give them to her. They hide them, but then they sneak the kids back out. She gets happily married. And what she hates is the man and the woman, the family, loving each other, prosperity. She comes down off her big mountain as a dragon to try to kill everybody.
Exactly. Kill the innocent. Kill the innocent because they represent what you can never have, the thing that you want. And that's what they're living with, these people. So they have to keep on lying and lying and getting to greater level and committing crimes and getting to a greater level of power so that they can wreak their revenge and do more destruction. And that's where
And that's revenge just on us not being in their universe.
Exactly. That's all it is. You're not where I am, so I have to kill you. You know, and if you say, when you put it that way, or when I put it that way, you see how completely insane it is. But that's the formula on which they're operating.
What do you think of their minions? What's wrong with their minions? I mean, their minions aren't really evil on average. How do they follow such idiocy?
Yeah. Well, they're completely deluded, for one thing. You know, a lot of them are true believers. which means that they see in, say, for example, Hillary, something that they aspire to or they believe is good because they are true believers. And you see this in every age, every era in society, the history of the planet. Some complete tyrant who has an enormous number of not just soldiers, but sycophants and admirers and so forth who don't see what's actually there. They see what they want to see. And then you have the wheedling, corrupt, manipulating courtiers at court, as in the old monarchies and so forth that are always maneuvering for a better position. That's where they want to live. They want to be in a situation where there is a single power at the top and that they can maneuver and manipulate and scheme and, connive their way and see how high they can get.
Stay there. Incredible. Absolutely on target. John Rappaport, the deep secrets here. This is how it really works. But it's not secrets at all. It's prima facie. It's a conquest economy, a crony economy, not an economy based on your literature, your art, what you built, what you grew, what you did, that your family's known for telling the truth, that you do what you say you're going to do. That's the chivalrous Renaissance economy of innovation. Sometimes when you're too close to a problem, you don't see it. That's my only blind spot. And I was asking the crew during the break, did it sound dramatic that I was not having an anxiety attack? I don't really have those. Other than you get a call from, wherever and you hear your kid's been hurt or something and you have an anxiety attack for 30 seconds. It's more of just a nausea, a frustration, oh, the Clintons ruling over us, knowing that more evil's coming. And the crew was like, no, that makes more sense than a lot of stuff you say. So I'm glad folks get where I'm coming from. I'm not being dramatic. It's just, this is real for me. We're not up here trying to put a bad face on this to have fun. We're putting a real face on this to get people to wake up to stop it. Now, I think you guys have a channel open or something in there. I'm getting a buzz feed. I think one of your intercoms is on. Just so you know. I can tell a channel's up. No big deal. It's just at a certain point to just calmly go along each day. You got it. Thanks. To just calmly go along each day like I'm talking about the price of tomatoes or something and I'm a farm report. Oh, look, the Chinese are buying the U.S. Mercantile Stock Exchange. Oh, look, world economy's imploding. Top banks say death spiral. Sell everything you have. Oh, no big deal. Oh, look, the government knew they were shipping in actual ISIS into Europe. German intelligence. Okay, German spy chief. ISIS is sending terrorists into Europe disguised as refugees. I mean, ISIS said that in February of last year, 1 year ago. It's actually 1 year ago tomorrow, on the 6th. Code 291, Swedish police cover up thousands of crimes involving refugees. It just goes on and on. Russia simulated nuclear strike against Sweden, NATO admits. Army and Marine Corps chiefs, it's time for women to register for draft. I've got 2 daughters. That fundamentally makes me in between wanting to throw up and punch somebody in the nose. And then I realized getting angry is normal. I am not in a trance. I am not brainwashed. I am sick of it. And I'm sick of the Clintons with all their crimes, getting away with all of it. The fact that they're known criminals. I mean, if I was dealing with Obama in 15 years again and facing the prospect of 8 years of that, and the way things are moving now with Democrats admitting they're trying to pass martial law bills in Congress to make the president God. And the Republicans are behind it. I mean, what are they planning? What's so big? I can feel, not just intellectually or geopolitically, see I'm right, but I can feel my gut going, no, Alex, it's worse than you're saying. And I've never been like this. I rant and rave to release steam, but I'm telling you, John Rappaport, nomorefakenews.com, author, great info at his site, folks. Check it out today. Piercing insight, as I say. You really do have it. Are you feeling the energy level rise, both positive and negative? But I mean, now I almost feel like something really evil's rising, though, in the midst of it. I've been feeling a lot of positive energy and seeing it, but now I feel like the gates of hell have been opened or something. I'm feeling a new energy enter the country and the world that is just really bad. I mean, it's bad. It's death, Rappaport. Are you seeing that?
I'm getting a very weird feeling about the presidential season, Alex. It's sort of taken a different kind of a turn. It's I'm looking across the board at the possibilities and who's getting pushed to the front and who's getting pushed to the back. And I'm seeing, there's Hillary. There she is. She's
Oh,
got 500 delegates, super delegates already locked up. These are the people that are not affected by the primaries that just walk into the nominating convention and cast a vote for her. And if that's the case, you know, here she comes. And then whoever the Republicans put up, who's it going to really be when all is said and done? And how easy is it going to be for her to just kind of roll over everybody with her
or hell,
assurance?
she'll just blow their airplane up. She doesn't care.
And then she's president, and then here comes the revenge, So yeah, I see the weird twisting that's happening in this presidential campaign. I see it over and over again. And it's not a good thing. It's a really bad thing. It's
You've been an investigative journalist for big papers, done investigative journalism for major TV magazines. I mean, you're an investigative journalist first and foremost. In your 40 years, or correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 40-something years as a journalist, have you ever seen such a crazy climate?
Oh, absolutely not. Are you kidding? No, no. It gets bigger and worse and stranger all the time. The antidote to that is that so many people wake up that they just stop giving their informed consent. I mean, that's the ultimate antidote, is that people see, okay, this is spinning completely out of control. This isn't even a good imitation of what the Republic is supposed to be. This is like a bad, bad, horror movie on a small budget. I mean, they aren't even trying to make it seem real anymore. It's just right out in the open.
And it's not like it's some group that just wants to skim money but still wants the country to do well. I'd fight that because it always leads to worse corruption like we see now. But this is like hardcore. Your kids are ours. We're taking your guns. We're bringing in ISIS. We're putting poison in your water. We're going to forcibly shoot you up. We're going to make you eat GMO. We hate you. I mean, it's just so evil.
Yeah, that's the theme. That's what it feels like. The gloves are off. Okay. For a while, we were pretending that this is a really good thing that we're doing, and we still talk that talk, but really, it doesn't matter anymore. All that you need to know is you're going to put all of your loyalty in us, because once we get there, you have no other choice.
And then we know getting there is worse. Cashless society, shutting off our food, totally enslaving us. We're being taken into the dungeon. They told us they were taking us to a candy stand. We're a 5-year-old kid, and now they're putting chains on our arms. And now we realize, oh, really? We really are in a psycho's dungeon.
Once I was testifying in front of a subcommittee in Nevada about antidepressant drugs and violence in children, because they had a school shooting out there. And I was sitting in the subcommittee room. This is a state legislature of Nevada, about which I knew. They're the representatives, right?
Go back 10 seconds. Your Skype just blurped. Repeat what you just said.
Okay. So I'm sitting in this committee room looking at these representatives there at this legislative hearing, just trying to get a read and a feel for what's going on. And then all of a sudden, a woman enters the room, and I find out she is the Attorney General of the state of Nevada. And all of a sudden, all these representatives are, gathering around her like little creatures, to get their little piece of goodwill, or that she would smile at them or engage in conversation with them. And then she tells an anecdote about Bill Clinton coming to town and this and that, a higher power, and everybody's laughing obsessively.
You were watching minion sprites hopping around the goblin, and then the goblin told you of a dragon king, and they ooh, exactly. It's a hierarchical. Ooh,
exactly.
They're minions.
That's what it is. You see, that's it. That's it. That's the story. So that's how you can have this bureaucracy in Washington and other places, in all the state capitals, even in cities, whatever, that are just gobbling up everything, because that's what these people do. They just kind of hang around and they just kind of attach themselves like little leeches and barnacles and creatures to the next person up the line, and they on and on and on, all the way to the top. And the person who's at the top, and this was something that I realized too when I was sitting in that legislative room, the person at the top feels that all the,
The worship.
all the pyramid, yeah, all the way down. So if
Like a
you're at the
Greek
top,
god doesn't exist unless they're worshipped. They're becoming a god in their own mind, in their own egomania.
exactly, they can feel all that, and it's not it's not just an illusion. It's real because everybody's in that universe. Everybody's playing that. Everybody's doing that. So you look at the old French courts. I don't know, what did you have?
Versailles.
A couple hundred people that were vying for attention. I mean, now you've got a million people, more than a million, millions of people inside government bureaucracies that are just feeding this kind of vile energy all the way up the line to the top. And then you have the president steps out on a platform and looks down at all of this like some sort of, God at the top of the pyramid looking down and says, "This is my kingdom. This is my empire. This is what I've got. And all these people owe me, and they must do what I say they will do." I mean, wow, that's an awesome amount of corruption.
But then none of them are producers. They have to go out then and find somebody as a vampire to siphon blood off to then go give it to their god, and we don't have any blood left. So they bring in Bernie saying, chop everybody's heads off, that'll give us more blood. And then all these little spoiled minions that are the next generation of the system, they're going, yes, blood, blood. I mean, have you seen the interviews we've done and Mark Dice have done? We don't edit these. We will show every person we talk to.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And they actually, 9 out of 10 say, put gun owners in forced labor camps or kill them. They say, elect Karl Marx. They say the most vile evil you can imagine. And they actually think they're good. But the weird paradox was, used to a slayer that was in an army of, say, centurions going out to dominate and kill, had to fight men to at least take it. Now, it's just little bots of jello all just going around going, evil, evil, your blood is ours. And they don't even have any strength to take it. We all just roll over in a trance and give it to them.
Yeah.
So it's an army of slugs of ruling over us.
And many of them are college slugs now. And I was just talking to somebody about this. You will now get people, most of the people who get to the college level can't even be taught anymore because they weren't prepared enough. They weren't educated. Nobody bothered. Nobody really cared. And nobody put it to them, look, you're here to learn this. You got to learn something, understand? So none of that happened. All they were taught were values and slogans and mottos and all kinds of cheap kind of idealism, ridiculous stuff. And then they arrive at colleges. Professors, even the good ones, take one look around and want to just run into the night.
It's just intellectual tinfoil. It's like Mardi Gras beads. There's no value, and all they do is just throw up stuff. Martin Luther King's racist. Pull him down now. Have you heard about that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just mindlessness.
Sure. So, what do you think these kids are going to do? They're just going to attach themselves to the latest piece of human corruption, and they're going to say, well, we want to be part of this. We want to be part of this because we don't have anything else. So this is the minion phenomenon in all of its glory. It stretches out into so many dimensions of society.
This is the end of the individual. This is the end of free will. This is the rise of just stupid, dumb, drooling, mindless servants who won't even know they're being commanded headlong off cliffs by their gods, by their psycho gods.
And even in the intellectual class, you go into these giant research labs like the National Institutes of Health or something. And what do you have? You have highly educated researchers who are doing the same thing. They're reaching out for the next little grant money. They're reaching out for the next little project, the next little promotion, appointment status.
And they're so selfish. They're planning that next vacation perfectly, and they hate all their underlings and tell them they're all stupid and love to go before the dean and grovel. And, oh, can I meet Bill Gates when he comes to town? Oh. They're so empty.
Right. And this is, I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands of employees, right? And so you take NIH, you take for National Security Agency, the CIA, FDA, just keep multiplying, IRS, and you've got the same thing. You know, or the biggest media outlets, what's the word from the top? What are we supposed to do here? How am I supposed to behave, and how do I act and react, and how can I, mince my way ahead a little bit and get a little bit
And there's
more.
New downloads every week now of how you're supposed to behave as they change the language and how you're supposed to conform to prove you're a servant of Sauron.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the latest directive, and okay, this is what I'm supposed to do now. This is the word. Last week it was that, but now it's the opposite. Who cares? I mean, it's the double think of Orwell. And so this is what society is becoming. And so it all comes back to the individual, because if the individual can't stand up for himself and say, this is who I am, this is what I mean, this is what I say, this is what I believe, I can think, I understand, I have power, and this is the way it was supposed to be set up. But now it's all gone. But I'm not gone. I'm not going away. Nobody's going to push me out the door. Doesn't matter what people say. Now, if enough people had that, then things would start to turn around, because then informed consent would be withdrawn in 1,000 different ways. Too many ways for them to stop it. But it all depends upon that, because they are aiming to completely destroy not only the individual, but the concept of the individual.
Exactly. And people point at this and they say, it's screwing everything up. Why would they want to hurt the money making? Folks, the globalists control the issuance of currency and credit. It's like Mao's override of China killing 84 million people. It wasn't a failure. David Rockefeller, when he died, when Mao died, wrote a New York Times article praising him, saying it worked wonderfully and how Mao followed his program. So that's the issue. You can read that article. It's online. This is what they want. They want to end the old system. And the old system isn't perfect. But what they're bringing in is the most dishonorable, anti-human, anti-liberal. That's what makes me maddest, John, is I love Thomas Jefferson. I'm a real liberal. I'm tolerant, live and let live. I really, to a point, I'm a Christian. I'm somewhat conservative, but at the same time, I make some of my conservative audience mad because I am so libertarian. But that's just who I am. I'm fundamentally that way. I don't look down my nose like a Pharisee because of what somebody does in their bedroom. But then the people that are in a bedroom that I'm not even attacking say, you have kids and you're a man and you got to give that up. They want to destroy who I am. And so that's what's so crazy, is that it's a weird cult claiming it's liberal, but liberal means you accept everybody, but you keep your identity. They say, no, we tell you what to accept and you give up your identity. Well, that's the Borg. That's not liberal.
Exactly. There are armies of sociologists out there that have infiltrated universities. And really, their whole theme is the individual doesn't exist at all. That was always a hallucination. I mean, I'm serious about this. I've got a quote from a guy.
No, they admit it. They say, get rid of that. Trick people, they have no will, then your will is theirs. But let me tell you, those sociologists from the CIA, they got will.
You bet. And then you find somebody, who struggles their way, works their way, whatever they do. They appear to get to the top in some way, and then they turn around and they say, I don't want anybody else to get to the top. So however I got to the top, that's now off the table. What I want now is control of what everybody can do and can't do, because I'm at the top.
Let's come back and talk about that with John Rappaport. And then there's another paradigm. People are so programmed, you try to lift them up, they then think you must secretly need them and get angry at you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end at this segment and then throw it to Rob Dew, who's going to have good old Richard Reeves from New Hampshire and all that news coming up in the fourth hour. We do 3 hours, Alex Jones, an hour, one of our great researchers, anchors here, broadcasting worldwide. Then I'll be back this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. But just briefly, I just have goodwill. I really like seeing people built up, doing well. In fact, you can have anything you want, just don't take it from me, to quote The Jungle. Well, if that's the jungle, I'll be throwing in that any day. But briefly, the system is suppressing our normal hormones, our normal actions, our normal behaviors. And with the proper nutrients, the proper vitamins, You cannot completely reverse everything that's happened, but you can certainly wake up in a different world and they'd like you to. And Anthroplex is our latest for athletics, for weight, for energy, for libido. Is where you'll really, in my experience, notice it quickly within a day. Anthroplex is our newest product available at InfoWarsLife.com. And regardless, it funds the operation. But if you'll try it, I don't steer people wrong. I don't report stuff that isn't true on purpose. Occasionally we're wrong, but not about our products. It really is amazing, and it's made right here in the USA. And it's discounted with free shipping and 15% off when you get it with Super Male Vitality or Super Female Vitality, InfoWarsLife.com. The water filters, the non-GMO seeds, the Pro-Liberty T-shirts, the books, the videos. It's all things we like, we use, we believe in. So we treat others as we like to be treated. And we appreciate all your support, your prayers, and more. The products are amazing. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And InfoWarsHealth.com is the whole longevity line. Buy the products there that also supports the broadcast, InfoWarsHealth.com. Now, going back to John Rappaport, who I appreciate joining us from NoMoreFakeNews.com. Be sure and bookmark that as well, folks. And just because you're awake doesn't mean others are. Pass the stories on. I'm not lecturing. We just need everybody. When it comes down to it, more of it is the TV sickness, like space sickness with no gravity, not being on the ground, not being agrarial, not being on the earth. We are being separated from our humanity. And part of that's our own development, part of that's artificial. But everything they do is to do that. And I think so much of it is that the artificiality allows people to believe the larger lies that are intensifying. What do you think the few secrets are in the 4 minutes we have left, or 3 minutes, to break free at the beginning, like a little chicken coming out of an egg with our egg tooth, into a wider world? How do we come out of Plato's cave?
Person's got to ask himself, what do I believe? You know, what's my conviction? That word conviction doesn't have anything to do with prison, although that's the way it's used now. What's your convictions? What are the basic convictions that you have? And then what are you going to do about it? You know, if a person sets out on that road, they are going to arrive somewhere important.
That's where the power's at.
That's where it is, exactly.
And if you don't seek the power and do it with a pure heart, you will get the power.
Yeah, you'll get somebody else's power if you don't find your own. That's for sure. That's the way it works out. So to me, that's where it starts, you know, and I see some people do it. I see other people that don't. I see other people that, you know, they're always on a wobble course. They're always wobbling. What are my convictions? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm looking, you know, this looks good. That sounds good. I like to buy this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there's no core. There's no center there. You know, what are you alive for? It's what your convictions are. That's what you got to find.
You've got to decide that you are conscious and do have free will, because that itself is a choice.
Absolutely. And there's so many people now who are convinced that's not the case. So you bet. You better understand that you're free, because if you don't think so, you're just giving it all away.
That's right. I want to have you up for a full hour to talk about the myth that we don't have free will. The enemy, I've talked to them, though, they know we have free will, how powerful humanity is, but they need us off the field. John Rappaport, God bless you, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Okay, so 2 years ago, I found myself on the couch, completely out of shape, overweight. I had no muscle tone, and I just felt horrible. And I knew I needed to make a change, and I needed to start going to the gym and working out. And I did that. I would force myself to go to the gym, and it just really wasn't going very well. That's when my buddy Alex told me to try the Super Male Vitality. And that's what changed everything for me.
Shane Steiner's involvement with InfoWarsLife.com truly happened in an organic way. I went to high school with Shane. His brother knew his parents well, and he was visiting the office once, hadn't been to the office in years, and said, wow, I notice you're making and selling supplements. Do these really work? Because I've tried a lot of supplements as a workout enthusiast, and I really think most of them are hype. And I said, here, take some home, try it. Well, a few weeks later, he came in blown away and said, I want to buy 3 boxes of this stuff to give my friends and family. It's simply amazing. He said, why does it work so well? And I said, listen, go to InfoWarsLife.com, watch the informational videos with Dr. Group and others. They understand how it all works. I know that it works for me. That's all I understand. The science, the facts, the research, people's testimonials, they're all on InfoWarsLife.com. You can check it out for yourself.
I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to push myself and work out harder, and that led to me being able to come out and do stuff like the barefooting and the surfing and stuff like that, which I've never done. I never would have done that 2 years ago.
Shane has said over and over again, more than just libido and energy, it made him want to get into the gym more. It made him want to get in better shape. And believe me, the Steiners have amazing genetics. His brother is a world champion steer wrestler. His dad, Bobby Steiner, is a famous world champion bull rider. They've got natural genetics. But when you added this to the mix, in Shane's own words, it took him to the next level. Shane noticed the mental clarity. Bobby was able to work out longer and gain muscle mass. He's already completely shredded. I gotta admit, for me, the biggest effect has been libido. Now, I've never claimed to have a body like some beach model, but back when I was 20, 22 years old and worked out every day, I looked great. But over the years, and being married, having 3 kids, working 18 hours a day, I gained basically 100 pounds. And it's been a long process losing that weight in the last 4 years. But if you look at the photos and the videos of what I looked like 4 or 5 years ago versus today, the results are dramatic. I'd already cleaned up my diet. I was working out hard, but I'd only lost about 20 pounds. It was adding the other key ingredients from InfoWarsLife.com that helped me personally go to the next level and shed another 35 pounds.
This has actually made me feel so good that here lately, about a year ago, I started training jiu-jitsu, and that kind of led to doing some boxing and kickboxing. I mean, it's amazing that 2 years ago, I was on the couch and couldn't even tie my shoes, and now I'm training with MMA fighters and just doing stuff that I never thought that I would be doing ever again. So Super Male Vitality has allowed me to do some amazing things, and if it has those kind of effects for me, I know that it will do great things for you. So just try Super Male Vitality. I promise you, you'll love it.
And finally, let's look at Anthony Gucciardi, Infowars.com reporter. He also works with Dr. Group and others, helping develop the newest, most cutting-edge, high-quality supplements. Let's take a look at what happened when he tried to barefoot ski for the first time with the Steiners. And remember, we're not making fun of him. He had the will to get in the arena, and he's lost more than 10 pounds in the last few years of fat and gained more than 10 pounds of muscle. And Anthony chalks it up to Super Male Vitality as well. Bottom line, folks, you want to discover the power of Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality for yourself by visiting InfoWarsLife.com today or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.